Hello and welcome to May 28th, Grants Pass Gateway Rotary meeting. And we're going to start with surprise Jean. Jean is going to come up and do the pledge, and she wasn't aware of it. So it was a nice little, oh, hello. Anyway, so I warned her about 5 minutes ago, but I'm sure she'll do great. Hello. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The four-way test. First, is it the truth? Is it to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, Jean. Great job. All right. And Tommy, I'm assuming you know our inspiration today. Yes, she's got her phone with her, so we're all good. Well, good. You can read it.
So Maya Angelou is one of the people I've always really enjoyed for her books and just things that she thinks of and said or did. And one of her ones that I really like a lot is courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. Will this go like this? Just hand it to you.
Hand it to me. Hand it over, girl. Okay, and we are right now getting down the names of all our visitors. So you just want to bring it up, or we still have one other person, or are we all good? Okay, we're good. So are there more cards? No cards. Good job, guys. Wait. So we do have some visiting Rotarians today. Make sure I don't trip. We've got Christian Walker. Oh, no, that was last week. So here we go. That was signed up. I guess we need to put the dates here. Today, okay, we don't have any visiting Rotarian. Yes, we do. We do have a visiting Rotarian, and he is here from the Wednesday Club. Yeah, RJ. So yes, great. We had the all club. So welcome to our club. Then do I see anybody else visiting that I don't recognize? Sue has somebody.
Lisa has somebody. My daughter, Cindy Looney, is on Zoom, and she's an RN for Asante.
Hey, that's wonderful. Okay. Hello, welcome. And then we have, let's on here. Lisa, did you have somebody here today? No. Okay. Oh. Oh, how special. Well, how sweet is that? The big 85th birthday. We all get to share with the leftover birthday cake from the birthday that was on Sunday, I believe. Okay, with that, we do have some non-Rotarians here. We have several of the, I think, well, and Nathan Grimm. Nor is that next last week too. I guess that's what we need to do is we need to make sure we cross off and put the date. Oh, the date's there. I just forgot to read it. And then we actually have several of our nurse who are here to talk to us about the nurses honor guard, and we're excited to hear about that. So that's Dana Hart, Lori Mather, Jackie Chandler, and Linda Schaefer there. So welcome. All right. One of the things that we've been doing all year long, school year is ending, but I do know the food bank still needs food all the time. So I always, when I'm out shopping, pick up a few extra things for kids and throw them in a bag and bring them in. So that's an ongoing. There's still, I don't know if we still have PorchFest t-shirts available. Yeah. We do. We still have PorchFest t-shirts available. I do think there's also some of the Rotarian workers ones available too. So the t-shirts for Rotarians are 15, and PorchFest t-shirts are 10. So if me or Mary will make sure that gets taken care of. I'm just going to put out a little plug. This Saturday is Friday. Greater Grants Pass's Rotary Track Trivia Trek is from 11 to 2. downtown. I think they had some people from our Rotary sign up to help, which is also always wonderful. And if you didn't sign up and you would like to support the Friday Club, then go on down Saturday and see what it's like, because I know they're doing this fundraiser in place of the one, yeah, First Crush. So they're trying something different. We work with Main Street Grants Pass. They're really trying to bring families downtown. So if you're in town, go take care of that. Then we have some other announcements. First of all, last night at the board meeting, I had Yale give an update on our upcoming porch. The last board meeting before, and we all know we need to save the 20th as the date, and we're all going to need to help out, all hands on deck. I was told there was going to be a sign-up sheet. Do I not see it? Oh, Mary's got it. So it's going around with how to volunteer, what you want to do on that day. I know the city wants to have it recorded who's doing what that day. So that's important. And I also got a report from the Grants Pass, which this year we got a grant in order to blast the information out to a larger audience. And they gave me a little short response letting us know that it's going great. Last year we had 1.7 thousand clicks of interest. This year we have 3.6 thousand. So up 110% of people out on the internet searching for PorchFest. So that's huge. 2 times visible post engagements, 1,248. Last year we had 898. So we've got marketing is working well. The digital interest is more than last year, and the campaign is generating strong before in event day. And advertising, there's over $2,000 in prizes through Visit Grants Pass to inspire people to come down a couple of nights lodging. So that's big. So anyway, things are going well, going on track. We just need people to, at this point, to work on that day. Also, for those of people who are passing out flyers, there are some small flyers that can go in businesses. Mary has them back there. If you have businesses, places that you know are visible to start advertising and blasting, pick them up. We also have the larger sponsors. So if you were one of the people who got some donors and you want to give your donors those posters, they've been printed and Mary has them in the back. So it's time to get out, start blasting it out there, getting people to be here. Our other announcements, other than the yummy cake that we have over there for dessert.
Free fries, if anybody missed that. Okay. I am Jean Marie Augusta, Club Treasurer. I just wanted to give everyone a heads up that you should be reading a dues invoice very shortly in your email inbox. If you have not received one by this weekend, please let me know. We've had issues with email before. I'm going to keep a closer eye on it to make sure I'm not getting bounce backs. And I'll follow up with reminders as well, but you should be seeing them in a few days.
Okay, any other announcements? If there are no other announcements, then I'm going to take a few moments to introduce our guests today. Kind of interesting, they contacted first Bev, and they were kind of interested in telling us and talking to us about the Nurses Guard. And of course, Bev and I just kind of went, what is that? So we had definitely piqued our interest, and who I believe strongly in us all vocations, and we all know how important nurses are as a vocational. I thought this is great. This is a great opportunity. I found out afterwards that, of course, our very own Judy knows them, so that was kind of nice. So, yay! I was excited to see that link, but I'm going to just let them tell us, because I really don't even have an idea of what it is. And so, without further ado, I'll have Jackie come up first. And I'm sure they've got this down to a science and explain to us what the Nurse Honor Guard is.
Hi, thank you very much. I think today, and she's already introduced the members of our Honor Guard here today. Just in a nutshell, to celebrate and pay tribute to nurses who have passed. And also, we also do living tributes. So people that are at their end of life, for instance. We also are willing to work with nursing students, kind of coming into the nursing world for the first time. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to perform a tribute for you here today to show you what we do as our work. And I do have to add that we'll be doing the talking because I can't. This is my mom. So, and then after we're done, then we'll give you a little bit more information. And Dana's got some stuff to share also. So.
Testing. We good? We're here today to present the Nightingale Tribute to our nurse colleague, Maxine Davis. Maxine was born July 19th, 1932 in Salem, Oregon. She was raised in Prairie City, Oregon, and attended Good Samaritan School of Nursing in Portland, a diploma program, graduating in 1953. She relates that the days were long, the rules were strict, and the physicians held the title of God. She had planned to become a true bush pilot nurse in Alaska, but her small Prairie City was desperate for nurses. So she returned there and brought 4 of her best friends with her. The day they arrived, the entire nursing staff left for the town of Chicago, and the 5 of them were left to run the hospital. She chose the operating room as her specialty and was also acting director of nursing. She then met and married Harold Davis, and after 12 years and 2 children later, she in their now home at Grants Pass. Work at what was known as Southern Oregon General Hospital in June of 1965. Her first day back to nursing found her delivering a baby in bed, not her idea of a great shift. The mom and the nurse all survived. She relates that the entire nursing staff ate together in the kitchen around 2 small with administration and the physicians. Harold worked building bridges and only was home on weekends in the early years. And so when she was on call for surgery for emergent cases, she bundled Jackie in blankets, put them in bed in the hospital, and the nursing staff watched over them. Jackie said she remembers getting fed ice cream, and that was glorious. But it's no wonder her daughters both became comfortable in the hospital environment and followed in their mother's footsteps, choosing nursing as their life's work. Maxine recalled that on weekends when Harold was home and she was on call for surgery and they wanted to leave home, hot days going down to the river, they had to make sure that they were near a payphone and that she had a roll of dimes with her. And she had to call in every 15 minutes to make sure that she was not needed. Life on call became very fancy when they were able to carry pagers. The back of the hospital was surrounded not by parking lots and physicians' offices, but by bushes, thick, heavy blackberry bushes. And one night, she and a coworker found themselves chasing a patient who had DTs and rushed out the back door. The chase was not completely a success, as evidenced by black on all of them. While she worked at Southern Oregon Hospital, the physician staff grew from 8 to 32. Maxine wrote that nursing offers a realm of opportunity and the choices are many. Her daughter Jackie was director of dialysis at a large hospital system in Salem, and her daughter Julie was evening supervisor of the med-surg unit of what then was known as Southern Oregon Medical Center. After retirement, Maxine continued to serve. She was voted as Oregon's Association of Operating Room Nurses top representative. She told us that year of completion of that volunteer duty, it was more work than working full-time and taking call. She went to Romania with Northwest medical teams that performed plastic surgery on children who were unable to get the repair that they needed. She also found time to do extensive traveling and, of course, her signature love of walking, even taking an international Volks walking trip. Maxine, we honor you today with a white rose that symbolizes friendship, purity, dedication for being our colleague. And in our would invite any nurses present to please stand recognized during the presentation of the lamp. And if we have nurses here, you're welcome to let us know. Okay. At this time of our presentation, we would present the Nightingale lamp to a family member. It represents and symbolizes the light of nursing. Maxine ends her memoir with telling us that nursing is joyous, sad, heartwarming, heartbreaking, but always challenging and never ending. We would now like to do a final roll call. Maxine Davis. Maxine Davis. Maxine, we officially release you from your nursing duties. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. For the next few minutes, I want to introduce Dana Hart from Salem, and she actually group, the Salem Honor Guard, and I was also a member of that until I moved back here home from Eugene. So I'm going to let her share her experiences, how they started their group also. Thank you.
So I'm Dana from Salem, and when a couple years ago, I was in a emergency room nurse conference in San Diego, and I had never heard of the Honor Guard before, never been in the state of Oregon. And when we have veterans from the military, firefighters, police officers, I think someday there should be one for teachers. But when when they pass away, we already know to put an honor guard in place for these people. The nurses have never had one. And I was in San Diego, and while I was there, one of my colleagues passed away, and I was devastated. Went to bed that night just really sad. And the very next day, demonstrated an honor guard performance for us to see that it is in the United States in places. And I thought to myself, we need to do this. We need to bring this to Oregon. We need to do this for our colleagues. Long time coming when you think about the sacrifices nurses make, just like the firefighters and the police and the military, et cetera. And so I started it in Oregon, and we're the first. And we're just still babies. We're still learning the ropes. And so we need support in getting it started. We have costs that that are involved in getting set up, but it really isn't an expensive venue. Once we get the caps and get our logo set up and our brochures printed, it really doesn't, we're all volunteers. So it's not like an expensive venture. It's just getting started that sometimes costs more than, but the whole idea is to spread the word, spread the knowledge, honor all nurses that have served. And what's unbelievable is like Max and the nurses we have honored are unbelievable. A lot of them are in their 90s. And you hear the stories. They served in Vietnam. They've done amazing things. And it's to honor these women. Any questions that you can think of, happy to answer, or Jackie can. But yes.
Yeah.
We'll try it. All right, I can just stand up and yell. They can hear how they yell.
People who are interested in the honor guard usually will contact the honor guard, National Nurse Honor Guard. And there's a woman that started the program. Was there more to your question? And she will connect to the different states. Like we're registered. So she will say, oh, state of Oregon, and she'll get a hold of me, and then I will refer to Southern Oregon, or we're hoping to get one in Portland soon. We're new enough that this is the first chapter other than us that's starting. So we're brand new babies at this, but it's grow. But yeah, so there's a National Nurse Honor Guard that's kind of connecting people and states and programs.
One thing I would add to that is the word of mouth. Yeah.
Word of mouth is essential. And what I have found when we do our tributes, like in a Catholic church seems right now to be the most effective, the people go home and they say, oh, I just saw the most beautiful tribute. And they spread it, and then they'll spread it some more. And the Catholic Church so far has been the most effective in getting back to us with, we saw it, we want another one. But we have to go to funeral homes, we have outreach, assisted living, residential living communities, and spread the word and let as many people know as possible. And that's a challenge. And I went to funeral Salem at the very beginning, and they've all, it's almost like you have to go every few months and remind them, we're here, we're here. But yeah, that's important. Word of mouth is hugely.
This is not about what you're speaking of right now, but I'm curious, as I think most of us are. We all have stories of what brought us in to our field.
Yes.
And I would love to know, you four, what brought you into nursing? I'm pretty sure, I think yours was mom. But maybe there might be something larger than that.
Can you repeat the question for the video?
The question was, she's wanting to know, you are Kelly, what brought us to our profession? Because we all have our love of profession, what brought us to nursing. And nursing is by itself a calling of its own. And so one of the most answers to that question is, I want, that's often what you hear. But in my case, it was my dad was a dentist, both my sisters are nurses. So it was very common for me. But do you guys want to share what you guys?
It's one sentence. My family. My family, I'm in a family of medical.
Yeah, and this is the people online and they can't hear it. That's why.
I am from a family of medical people and it was the only option, but it's worked well for me. I am 40 years at Sante this June 30th in Medford. So obviously it's been a good fit because
Test. Wow. Sorry, that's really loud. Testing. I was similar to Dana in that my father was a dentist here in Grants Pass. I'm born and raised here. And I can remember way back when he and Dr. Kildare were on TV, I would watch them and think, I want to work in the operating room. I want to do that. And so the week after I graduated from high school, I went to Mountain Hood Community College, got my associate's degree in operating room technology, worked here in the local hospitals as a surgical technician. And then in the 80s, I went back and got my nursing degree and started working at Providence. I became the manager of the operating room over at Providence and I just always surgery and the environment. And so I never was interested in doing anything else.
When I graduated from nursing school, the TV show ER was just coming up. So I became an ER nurse, but one of the things, and I think you all know, you have your stories, you've all maybe have had hospital experiences and you've seen how influential and how important nurses are in that experience in the hospitals. And I can't tell you how many holidays the families are at home waiting for Christmas for your mother, usually mother, but could be dad, could be whatever, to come home so they can start Christmas dinner, so they can finally have Thanksgiving, and missing your child's first day of school because you had to go to work. And nurses have sacrificed just like so many other careers, but we're always there, and we're there on people's darkest days, hardest days, and hopefully with a loving, caring heart, trying to help people through. So it's a privilege to honor, especially when I think about the nurses that have served in the military, but it doesn't have to be just the military. It could be the OR, life-saving surgeries. It could be anything that people have done. And so this is just an honorable, we're just proud to be on doing something so honorable.
I'm just going to add a little bit to that because I'm kind of interested in the fact that we've had such a shortage of nurses. I mean, you're right, that it is a calling. I have to admit that I spent a little bit of time in the hospital as a child and I fainted was in a hospital. So I knew that was not my calling. So I did eventually find my calling. It was wonderful, but it is a special calling for sure. And I've always wondered about why there's a shortage of nurses. And what I had heard, and maybe you can affirm this, is because people who teach nurses get paid less than people who become nurses. So there's not really an incentive to go on to teach the profession. And so they really have a limited of nurses that are allowed to go out into the system. So if you would like to add to that, I would appreciate it because that's something that I've always worried about. I mean, because really, if there's one profession, and especially as this baby boomers age, that needs to be there is nursing, and that goes into home care. I mean, it's the whole it's exploded in terms of what the needs are, but it's frustrating to think that there's not enough nurses for us. So if you'd like to add to that, that'd be great.
Good observation. The other thing is, the schools pay their professors or teachers a certain salary. And in order to raise the salary for the nursing teachers, they'd have to pay them more than they pay their other teachers. And the schools don't want to do that. So it's hard you can't really start up a school and add a school of nursing when you have other programs as well, because you have to keep it even. And so the teachers of nursing have to take a lower cut in pay, but that's why. And it's hard to get the schools out there to find the teachers that are willing to do nursing. So it is a problem. And a lot of the nurses are aging out. Nurses are getting ready to retire. And there aren't a lot of young. And then the nurses, the young ones that are coming in, some of them start the program at school and they get out and then they say, I don't want to work that hard. And they leave right away. So, and especially after COVID, we had a huge exodus of nursing. So it is a challenge, big challenge.
Like, I know during COVID, they also had the issue with people having to be vaccinated and that being an issue, thing that you saw as a bigger issue, or?
In what way?
Yeah, I mean, did you see that locally as the people that didn't want to, went out of nursing because they had to get vaccinations because of that whole time?
Our hospital didn't, they had them sign a waiver, but never fired anybody. I don't know if there were, it was too, did they? Ugh. And it was because of the shortage that they kind of looked the other way because they couldn't afford to lose the nurses. Did you want to say something?
I was in ICU during that time. I was frontline. And our hospital, I worked at Samaritan in Corvallis. And we also kind of looked the other way because our administration felt like more important than the shot, a choice whether you wanted to take it or not. But I know, because my roots are from Grants Pass, obviously, I knew what was going on down here, and it didn't work very well for them.
You hear stories about the poor teachers, and the teachers union is huge, but in reality, nurses, we didn't have a big union protecting us. I mean, I think hospitals have unions. Nurses just got up, went to work. We didn't get an increase in salary. We never got bonuses. We just kept going back to work, and our budgets never got bigger. So I'm walking with a friend who's in the education system, and she said during COVID, she would tip the rest because she and her husband were actually making a little bit more with all the help, like the big bonuses she'd get from the school system. This is in Salem, so I don't know if it happened in Grants Pass, but I'm sitting here going, I never saw anything like that. Our hospital just, and then a lot of nurses left their hospitals and they travel, and they did traveling. And so then that really elevated the pay of the traveling nurses, but the nurses just status quo the whole way.
Actually, I have a niece who is a nurse, and she did the traveling nurse thing, and she was able to pay off her loans because she got loans to go to school. She was able to pay those off in 3 years, just in being a traveling nurse. So that was a pretty crazy time during that time, and I think that brought up nurses' wages. But it also was hard for the regular nurses, and I know there was a lot of animosity there because the traveling nurses would get paid a lot more, and the regular nurses didn't those wages. So a lot out there, and it's interesting to me that we have no nurses. I'm actually kind of surprised that there are no nurses in here. We have a lot of educators. Our club has a lot of educators in here, and I will have to say that we were kind of spoiled. One of the things that was great as a calling for me is when I was able to be on the same schedule as my children. And so as I watched my niece and others in my family who didn't have that nice cushy job and had to go out and scrimp, I had to have childcare all year long. I realized what an advantage it was. And I bet you, because we also have a lot of reader in here, I bet you a lot of you have read the book Women. It's by Kristen Hanna. I think that's who I'm really bad at remembering my authors, but on for me in terms of recognizing that truly, you think about all the honors that men and the flyer pilots and all those people have received, and yet all these years, we're right in there doing it right there with them, have not had the privilege to be honored. So thank you. I think this is very valuable in the future. And anything we just need to, I don't know if you um, get hold of the senior center or the sorts of things to do, but I would agree. It's word of mouth. We just need to get out to people that, that there needs to be a way to honor nurses and, move for being here. Is there any other questions before I hand over? I think Jenny, are you ready to? Okay, yes, Debbie, and I'll walk over with the microphone because I get my steps in.
Well, not a question so much. I love the old fashioned uniforms. They're just a lot more impressive than the scrubs, I've got to say. And then I have a friend who's a retired nurse. She mentioned Maxine Davis's funeral, and you were there. And she said it brought tears to her eyes, and it did for me too, especially the ringing of the bell, very much.
I wanted just to share a little bit of history about the capes. I just think this is really fascinating. So you can see that there's a red line, and this was to be flipped over the back of the shoulder of the nurse on the battlefield so that they would be identified as someone that shouldn't be shot. So that was kind of cool.
It started in the Crimean War, and it was a protection for all medical.
How long ago was that? The Crimean, I mean, yeah. Because we heard a lot of the history of Maxine, but we didn't necessarily hear, Florence Nightingale. Yeah, so there's a lot of history that goes way back in terms of nursing and the importance of nurses. And once again, just kind of expected. I think to a certain extent, a little bit, and this is kind of right now, I think nursing and teaching are kind of down because what we have is a lot of other choices for women to have. And like you said, I don't want to work that hard, or, I don't deal with little brats, that sort of thing. So it's a whole different thing. 1854. Okay, great. So anyways, there's just a whole different world of options for people. And so, yeah, some of the most important professions, as I think that teaching and nursing are being overlooked. And I think that there is also a lot of pride and, we all know what a difference you make in a person's life. And that goes along. Our professions have a lot of purpose. And
I don't remember your name, but, Jackie. I think your mother and my mother were nurses together at Southern Oregon because she worked there in the 60s and she was an RN. Rosemary McKay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Just thought I'd let you know.
like I said, very honorable profession, and many of us new nurses.
I remember when I was young, I was told that the caps that nurses wore reflected their school, and it was custom for that school. Each school had a different style, maybe not style, but decoration on the cap. So what does that one mean?
This means, yes. Yes, that's what after school nursing. Right. Okay, and
The ones that are white mean?
At my 3-year diploma program, the first year was white, just white. The second year, you got a stripe going this way. And as a graduate, you got the black stripe all the way across. That's how in the old days, before they knew what year a student nurse was. It was important then. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, I can't thank you. I think, well, I want you to use this one. None of us want to go, let me tell you. Anyway, thank you so much. And I've got to get a picture of us together before we leave. This is actually a kind of a funny story. Lori was my husband's first wife. I have never met Lori until this day. And so when she introduced her, she asked how Bill was. And it was just like, how do you know Bill? This wife. There's, whoa! So I want to surprise him tonight and say, guess who was at my wedding today? Anyway, so that will be funny. So anyway, that's a funny story. And I guess enjoy. Love it. Okay, with that, did we find Jenny? Did she disappear? Okay. Did you get your food eaten? Did bite. Anyway, so she's our sergeant of arms today, and I want to thank Jenny because she's substituting. She was last week, but we're getting her ready for her presidency by getting her out here. So take it away, Jenny.
Thank you. I love it. Speaking of which, I've been thinking about what kind of topic to touch on today, and I got a text from my mentor, Bobby Kidder, this morning. And I'm going to share some of the things that she shared with me, and we're going to talk about our dogs. But first, I want to say thank you so much for the beautiful ceremony that you allowed us to be a part of. Moved me very deeply. When I heard 1965, I was born in 1975, so I may have met your mom at some point, and thank you all for your service. I've worked for the nursing program at RCC as their exam proctor for about 15 years, and I see how hard all of our students work and the time and the dedication they put into it on all the levels. And one of the things, you talked about the shortage of nursing instructors. Not only do they get paid less, they have to pay more for more education because higher education requires you to have a master's degree. And so I actually encouraged my niece, who is a nurse, to get that master's degree, and she is Harbor Community College as an educator, and she's amazing at it. I'm really proud of her. So I wanted to definitely honor what you're doing, because talking about our wonderful and lovely pets feels somewhat insignificant compared to the work that you all do in here. So back to speaking about Bobby, I get to see Bobby Kidder this weekend. Chelsea Fine and I are going over there with a couple of other folks. She's working at Southern Oregon University doing the Resile workshop for educators. And I'm really, first response is Bobby okay? I'm going to go. I'm sure I'm going to do great things there. She's one of our only licensed drama therapists. And I just consider it kind of free therapy to hang out with Bobby. But sadly, Bobby texted me this morning at about 8. And she doesn't normally text me at that time of day, but we talk a lot. And Bobby said, sad passing yesterday, sweet Rocky died. And this quote she sent along vacation was, until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened. Anatole, France. If I said that right, I'm not sure how that was. I know that there will be lots of stories in this room about beloved pets, whether they be cats or dogs. I'm a cat person, but I'm also a dog person. And I've seen like a meme, you a cat or a dog person, like, just give me something furry to cuddle. And that's, I have many of those, and I lost my Moby Dick about a year ago. And I have this plant, I think those of you that are local might, it's kind of a wild flowering bush, and it has white flowers on it, and it grows all over the place. And when you get a whole lot of flowers on it, it smells like heaven. One, okay, but when it's just in really full bloom, I'm not sure what it is, but I call it my Moby bush, because when he passed away, it was in full bloom. And it's actually a little early this year. It's always the first and second week of June that I see it bloom. And we are the end of May, and it's been blooming for a bit. And so I can say hi to Moby when we walk by, the dogs and I do, and I love the smell. So I picked this today at the college. This is a Korean dogwood flower, which I thought was a good visual aid as a speech and theater instructor on occasion. So I brought that. One more poem that I want to share with you about dogs, because I'm all about the art. And I found this one, The Sweetness of Dogs by Mary Oliver. What do you say, Percy? I am thinking of sitting out on the sand to watch the moon rise. It's full tonight, so we go. And the moon rises, so beautiful it makes me shudder, makes me think about time and space, makes me take measure of myself, one iota pondering heaven. Thus we myself, thinking how grateful I am for the moon's perfect beauty, and also, oh, how rich it is to love the world. Percy, meanwhile, leans up against me and gazes up into my as though I were just as wonderful as the perfect. So now I want to hear your lovely stories about your lovely animals. Because I know even when we watch movies, like we see some horrible stuff in movies, but like people draw the line. If the dog dies, I'm not. So please share your happy bucks and your loving bucks about your animals and your pets, and we will run this single microphone around.
How many either floated or walked down to Rainy Falls? Bart, my dog, Lab, did Rainy Falls the hard way. We were fishing below the falls and no fish, so we started back, and I threw a stick in the pool above the falls, and she swam out to get the stick, and a fish jumped right next to her. So she went after that fish. Little by little, the current was taking her down, and I called her, and she started to come back, and another fish jumped. And so she went further, and the last I saw, and I jumped up and over to the edge and looked down, and there she was, a quarter mile downstream, had swum across the river and was chasing some creature across the other side of the river. Bart did Rainy Falls the hard.
If you will please indulge me, I have this saying that maybe some of you have heard. I'm a dog person. It's a risky thing giving your heart to a dog, I said, staring at the leash still hanging by the door, because you know right from the start they won't stay forever. You sign up for an ending before you even begin. She shifted in her chair, waiting, so I kept going. But you do it anyway. You let them in. You let them take up space in your home, in your routine, in the parts of you that you didn't realize needed filling. And before you know, got a piece of you, one you won't ever get back, even long after they're gone. I exhaled, shaking my head. The funny thing is, you never regret it. Not even when the end comes, not even when it wrecks you and ready for, because somehow the love they give outweighs the pain every single time. She nodded, a small knowing smile across her face. So you do it anyway, she said. Yep, I said, smiling back. You do it anyway. This is by Robert Drake. I have a Labradoodle. He's taken my heart, and RJ knows him, and he is the love of my life. And that's never get remarried because he's taken up my bed. He's taken up all the spaces in my heart. So.
Okay, so thinking back to undergraduate days, I went to the University of Iowa. I'm actually from Illinois, so that was right across the Mississippi. And anyway, I had a collie. My great love was Bridget, a female collie. And so I'm going to just tell you one story because I could go on forever about her. She was just my heart. She really was. She went with me everywhere, to all my classes. She went to my classes, never on a lead. She all right with me. Anyway, so she was acting strange one morning, and I had French class. And so I had to go. I think this might have been senior year. I can't remember, but junior or senior year. And so I had to go, and I was afraid to leave her because she always ate, and she couldn't. And so I went to my French class and I said to the teacher in French, because we had to speak in French, that I couldn't stay because there was, and I knew she was pregnant and maybe she was going to have her litter and I needed to get there. So I excused myself. I went back to the apartment and in the window as I was coming up, and she was pacing. She was going back and forth and back and forth. She saw me. I walk in, she laid down, and she had her babies. That's love.
Well, my story is about Yukon, my wonder dog. He's a Native American dog, going to be 13 in September. 16 months ago, he had a stroke, and I took him to the vet, and the vet said he doesn't have that much time, so just keep him comfortable. So I gave him his final meal. I thought a nice steak, and I fed him this nice steak, and he got done eating, and he looked at me and he goes, "You know, if you're going to feed me like this, I'm going to hang around." So I ended up having to buy steak for about 6 months. And then I said, I can't keep affording steak every night. So I started pork loin roast. And anyway, he's still with me. He has a hard time getting around, but he's loving life. He loves to lay outdoors all day long. In fact, he gives me a lot of static if I try to bring him in at night, but he wants to go out and hang with. He's American Indian dogs were bred back to coyotes every few generations, so he has coyote, and he did used to hang out with them. But I told him, no, you can't. You go out there and you stand around and sniffing each other, you're going to fall down. And an animal falling down with a group of coyotes becomes dinner. So he gets real ticked at me for not letting him out, but he's great. And I have to shout out Lisa. Lisa came over Tuesday because I had to take him to the vet. It's real hard for me to get him in the car, but the vet was happy to see him and just gave me, I wanted a little bit more to take, but I can't have another pet when he's gone because I live alone, and you don't realize till you get older, even a kitten running in front of you and then stopping suddenly, danger to somebody that's starting older and lose balance. So I don't know what I'll do when he goes, but I'll have the memories.
I am definitely have had dogs my whole life. I've got boxers right now. Sad part with boxers is they're extremely prone to cancer. So I've lost some to cancer. Luckily closer to 10 years old and that type of stuff. So I've had good lives, but many surgeries and things of that sort. But what I was going to talk about was my grandpuppy. Now 11 and a half years old, and he would come and we would take my dogs for a walk down the road, and where I live I don't have him on a leash, we just go, and he absolutely adored one of my boxers. It was kind of like that thing where, oh, you're my hero, he'd sit there and he'd go. Well, the nice part is that my grandpuppy is now going to be a big brother. I found out I am going to be a first-time grandma in November.
All right. Well, dog two, Snoopy and Lily, and they're my first dogs, and they're both about 11. So I'm trying not to think about how much time I might have with them or not. But I wanted to give happy bucks also for my mom, who is a nurse who I know worked with your mom, Maxine, although she wasn't, my mom was in, and she is still working, going on 53 years at Asante. She's the med surg nurse at Three Rivers, working right now as we speak on her shift. So I'm really proud of her and just amazed that she's still going.
Well, I'm a dog person too. I mean, I love my kitties, but I don't have any right now. But Fiona is a good Scotch name for daughters. And Fiona with these darling big ears, and she's just a dear girl. She's sometimes a brat, but she's a good girl. So I don't know if I have any great stories like you do, but she loves her fairy grandmother. So anyway, dogs are good.
Okay, I've been a bird guy. I used to be at Wildlife Images working with the birds of prey. But when my wife and I were going cross country on our honeymoon, we had Jiminy, which was a little lovebird. And we would play with that lovebird. That lovebird had 9 lives. And so here we are in Key West, and we're at a campsite, and we were tossing Jiminy back and forth, giving Jiminy exercise. His wings were clipped just enough that he couldn't really take off, but he could fly a little bit. So here we are tossing him back and forth. All of a sudden, this osprey came down, hit Jiminy. Jiminy's laying there, and the osprey, and of course, I make a great big noise, and the osprey goes by. Jiminy's laying there with his eyes and all this. And Jiminy wouldn't come out of his cage for a few days, but he made it. But that's one of the 9 lives of Jiminy.
I have dogs, I have dogs, I have had cats, but I don't want to tell a story about animals if that's okay with you. I want to thank our nursing guard guests today. And as I went to high school with 2 of them, Lori and Jackie. And your dad was my dentist forevermore. I think he was the dentist for John Salisbury and just about everybody in town. And I love going to the dentist because he had a treasure. And so that was a smart thing on his behalf. But I think the work that you do is really important. I love this whole idea. And I know, Jackie, you used to be in a Rotary. So we would love to see you join our clubs. Nurse. So here's some happy bucks.
Your dad must have been a good dentist. They've got great smiles.
This is a pet story, but I want to really thank Jenny and Val. Oh, there you are, Gina Marie. We have a grant going in, and it takes a lot of work, and they helped, and thank you. So hopefully we get it from district, and that we have a sculpture being built at the Hillcrest Veterans Place. So
Tommy did most of the work. Thank you. Any other happy bucks, sad bucks? We're almost to the end. We got a card to be drawn. I'll share my quick story. Some of you met my dog, Jasmine Renee. She came to the Peace Walk that Janie graciously organized. And she belonged to my best friend who passed away, Bob. Bob was a strange character. She yelled at everything. And so that's what I tell Jasmine when she's being bad. I'm going to take you somewhere where they're just going to be nice to you and they won't yell at you ever. So thank you all for your wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor. Here you go, Val. Okay, thank you.
I always get to say a happy buck at the end because I get the microphone. And I'm just going to say I feel blessed because I have never chosen an animal in my life. An animal has always chosen me. Every one of my children, or even when I was in college, I don't know what it had written on her, cats, I will take your cat when you move. I hate cats. At one point in time in college, I had to get rid of whatever, but I always managed to get other people's pets. And when my son went up to go to college, when you graduate from college, you get a truck and you get a dog. Fortunately, you should think about the job before the dog because he had to go out of town to look for a job. And so he left his dog in the backyard. So of course, who had to take care of the dog? I did. And he lost the dog and we found the dog and I forget it. You're never getting this dog back again because he's a dog. So that was one dog. And now my daughter is living at our house with us and her dog has totally fallen in love with grandma. He won't even go for a walk with her anymore. He looks at grandma and says, no, grandma's a better choice. So I'm telling you, she's going to have to move out if she wants to keep that dog. Winner today is a 7 of clubs. So if you have a 7 of clubs, woohoo! Yay, Lisa! Today is your lucky day. So once again, I want to thank you for being here. Got to catch a picture before I can't. And I did get some nursing quotes because I just love what I know it's going to be on to go through and look at quotes. So I've got a couple of them. The first of them are actually from nurses. The first one, a nurse is one who opens the eyes of a newborn, gently closes the eyes of a dying man. It is indeed a high blessing to be first and last, beginning and the end of life. So that was one, and I thought that's true. Nurse, just another word, person strong enough to tolerate everything and soft enough to understand everyone. So that was another good one I liked. And then this one, beginning with Maya and ending with Maya. As a nurse, we have the opportunity to heal the mind, soul, heart, and body of our patients. They may forget your name, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. So with that, I say thank you for being here and thank you for being here, and I will see you in June.